Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Anthony, here to give you guys another movie review, the first movie review of the new year, and that is See For Me. The first movie review of the new year, and I'm excited guys. I'm glad we started on a good foot because, I could have reviewed American Siege, which I already watched, but I could have reviewed that first, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to start off fresh. In a blind former skier named Sophie cat sits in a secluded mansion, three thieves invade the home looking for a hidden safe. Sophie's only defense is a former army veteran named Kelly, who helps Sophie defend herself against the invaders using the See For Me app. First off, I want to give a shout out to the director of this film, Randall Okita. Hope I said your name right, but I just want to give him a shout out because this is his second feature film, and I think this guy has a future. I think he has a bright future, especially in horror. I just love the aesthetic that he has and he brings to this film. You can totally feel like the tension. I love when films do that. The cinematography is really well done. The score, man, I love when we get horror films with like a really banger score, and that's what we get here. It just helps set the tension up and everything. But let's talk about See For Me. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it has its flaws, of course, what movie doesn't, but I think for a first outing, is we're in January. Usually when you watch movies in January, that's where all the movies go to die. But I think for an indie film, an under radar film, and I already know not a lot of people are going to be talking about this film or watch this film at all, but I dug it. It's well acted. Everybody across the board does a really good job. Our protagonist here, she does a good job, though I did have a big issue with her, which we'll talk about later. But it just helps when you have a film with a limited amount of cast where everybody pulls their weight, so to speak. Everybody can put in a solid performance. It just helps elevate the film even more. These types of films are becoming my new favorite horror/thriller genres. It's like where the protagonist has some kind of handicap, and there's people trying to get them, and they're trying to utilize their handicap, as I'm putting in quotes again, and trying to navigate around that issue. This movie is very similar to another film that I really enjoy called Hush. Came out in 2016. I really recommend that one if you haven't seen that already. And another film that came out recently, 2020, called Run. That one, another person, handicap in a wheelchair, trying to get away from a threat. Similar to this, it's become its own genre now. I don't know what we're going to call it. We're just going to call it a handicap genre. I don't know, but I think those films just really add a new twist to it, because if it's just a regular home invasion film or a regular girl at home babysitting kind of film and then bad guys come in, we've seen that kind of stuff before, and there's not really that much you can put a spin on. But now you have these different characters with these different disabilities, if you will. It just adds that much tension, to me at least, to the film and to the whole scene in general. There's also a really cool aspect in this film where it kind of turns into like a video game or something like that, and I really like that. I thought that it came out of nowhere. It's kind of subtly planted in there, and I really like the way that the director did this. Is just the kind of subtle, just a couple dialogues, to introduce this idea, so you won't kind of think it comes out of nowhere per se. And then when they execute on that past segment that they were talking about and they integrate it into this new segment, it's kind of genius in my opinion. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. I love how they did that. But let's talk about the one negative that I have with this film. It's just the lead character we have here. Sophie is not likable. She's not a likable person, and it's a shame because the rest of the film is pretty decent, pretty solid in my opinion. But it's just when you have a character that you can't really root for, especially a character in this type of film that you're not really getting behind, you kind of want the bad guys to succeed at some points. It just knocks it down a couple of points for me at least, because the whole time I'm just like, no, I don't agree with what you're doing right now, lady. I don't agree. But luckily, Sophie's interaction with Kelly over the phone helps keep the film together, in my opinion. Without Kelly and Sophie and their interaction, their bickering back and forth, I don't think I was gonna be able to like this movie that much, because if we were just stuck with Sophie and her bad decisions and her just cold demeanor throughout the whole film, I don't know if I was going to be able to enjoy it as much. But overall, guys, I thought See For Me was a really good time, really good way to kick off the 2020 year. I'm excited, not that excited because the next review I have is American Siege with Bruce Willis, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So if you enjoyed See For Me, I definitely would recommend that you go check out a similar film called Hush and another similar film called Run. I think those two films will give you the itch that you need if you enjoyed this film. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you feel that the protagonist was a little bit too unlikable, or did you like the protagonist? Let me know in the comments down below. Also guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my Twitter so you can stay up to date with my channel. And remember guys, keep watching movies.